hear me? Can everyone hear me? Okay, I'm back. Let's see if so. Please, let's get this started. Let's do this. Let's see. Um, okay. All right. Okay. So I'm just gonna bring Arthur back on live again. Okay. Let's get this all thing. Arthur, I'm bringing you back live again. Let's see. Let's just do a test now and see what happens. Okay.
Hello?
Yeah,
Yes, you're much clearer now, eh?
yeah, thank you. All right. Thank you, Cornelia, and every other person. Thank you. Okay, yeah, let's just hope that this report joins us. So we're sorry, guys, for those who are just joining us. The live started about 25 minutes ago. We're having some technical issues, and thank God it's been resolved and we sorted that out. Mr. Arthur, the question was,
Yes.
why did you start the movement? Was it because you wanted a platform, or you wanted, like you said, a journal, a point, a place where you could, express yourself and, for whatever, from all your experiences, or because you saw that there was need for other men to speak out? So was it for you to share your story, or for other men, to speak, an opportunity for other men to speak out? Why did you start Memos Talk?
I'll be honest with you, initially I didn't think that I had the same problems as other men. I thought maybe this is just my problem, you know. But I think it was shortly afterwards there was a very similar incident to what has just happened last week here in South Africa, where this guy actually he murdered his girlfriend, and and he chopped her up and put her in a dustbin. And I thought, wow, you know, maybe this was like a trigger for me to actually start the movement. But I've seen that there is a need for it. I was not the only one who was struggling with this, the fact that that men are failing to express themselves. Maybe I was also failing to express myself. And sometimes you find that, you know what, things are created based on a personal need. But if it's done selflessly, you find that other people will also get to appreciate what you're doing and actually get some value from it. So people definitely were able to get so much value from it, because there's one day I received a post, and on this post, the guy just said, "Thank you." And I don't know, for some reason, it drew me to his profile. And I went to his profile, and his profile was full of this homemade weapons and different sort of weapons that he was making. So this guy was probably some sort of criminal, and he on the platform, maybe one of the posts that I posted to him on that particular day made him just change his mindset and think that, you know what, maybe I should do something different instead of what I was planning to do. So I thought that, you know what, there is a need for this. And I continued to post. And next thing, there were those 40,000 people on there. So clearly, and I would get lots, I wouldn't get many messages from the men, but I would get lots of messages from the women saying, "Thank you for what you're doing. We appreciate what you're doing." Because they got sons and they identified the need for this. They've got brothers and they identified the need for this. There's a video which says, "How do women hear what men are not saying?" And this has resonated with me for quite a while. How do you women get to really hear what men don't say? Because there's so much that men do not say, you know, and women are just expected to pick up the cues or something. But we're not very expressive, and we're not very open in the way we talk to people. And it's not for us to actually talk. We're supposed to hold it in, and this bottling up is what's causing men to actually fall apart. So as much as I started the platform for myself and maybe seeing a need for myself, it extended to all these thousands of people, tens of thousands of people, because they also felt that there was a need maybe for them to actually communicate rather than have the feelings that they were feeling at that point in time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, so basically, you actually started a platform just for you to express yourself, and then as it grew, you saw the need for, you saw people coming on board, and then realized that you were actually not going through the journey alone, and so people now
Yes.
started, joining in. Okay, beautiful, beautiful. It's really hurting inside. Now, do you think the reason why men don't speak up? I mean, I completely understand you, as a man. I completely understand this thing of, we just want the women to figure these things out. You just don't want to say, but you think, they'll work it out themselves, But then it's really not fair on them, to be
Yes.
honest. You understand? It's really not fair on them. For we need to be able to talk and express ourselves. And we just really do hope that we are talking to those who are listening, and those who really are willing to listen as well. Now, the question now is, do you really think, why do you think it's really difficult for men to express themselves? Is it this society and this cultural cycle that says, men don't cry, men must be strong, or it's just in the inherent nature of man to not want to speak up? Because in the African society, which we also get to address later, there's this common thing of, you're a man, you don't cry. You see a young boy crying or a young cry, you're like, how are you crying? Like, why are you crying like a woman? Keep quiet and whatever it is. Do you think the society and the culture of Africa has really, really contributed to some of these issues and cases of violence that we have seen in the society? Do you think our culture is really a major factor?
Our culture is part of it. Part of it is in our nature, but a lot of it has got to do with the culture and the whole, I think, the way we are socialized as men, Girls are more or less encouraged to be more expressive about their feelings and emotions, but as men, we're more encouraged to hold it in and to keep it within. So there's a whole lot of factors that are coming into it in terms of why men do what they do. Yes, some of it is inherent. As men, we're not very expressive, but then the culture has also driven it to some point in time, because you find that there are certain cultures which encourage men to be more expressive, and there are certain cultures which so especially with African culture, we more or less are supposed to be strong. As a man, you're a protector and a provider, So a lot of that doesn't come with being very expressive regarding your feelings. And now what's happening with, especially after COVID, is that things have changed, Our roles as men have also changed, because now you find that maybe you are not the provider anymore. Maybe you lost your job, your income is not what it was. Maybe your spouse is actually making more money than you are, and she's pushed into the role of being the provider. And protection for some is not really a factor anymore, because we're not dealing with the wild animals at the same time and that kind of thing. So we're almost losing our place as men. We don't know where we stand anymore. And we need to be able to express our feelings and our emotions. So I don't even know where to place the blame, I'll be honest with you, Prince. Is it the culture? I think part of it is the culture, part of it is our characters as being men, I don't know. Maybe you can shed some more light. I know, although I grew up without my father, but I know that my friends, when their fathers would get home, he would grab a cup of tea and sit with the newspaper, and he wouldn't really engage with the kids. He would be like there watching the TV, maybe watching the news, and get on with things, and let them the mom do a lot of the finding out, oh, how was your day, and oh, how are you feeling about this and that. So I don't know, Prince, maybe you can answer that question. What do you think?
Can I something?
Yes, please.
I think the fact that, okay, I totally agree that part of it is because of the culture that indodically and don't cry. Yes, partly we can say that. But there's one thing that I want us not to forget is that culture evolves with time. There are things that were culturally wrong, culturally unacceptable. Things like teenage pregnancy, things like women drinking alcohol. But if you check those things now, they're more like they're a bit accepted. It is okay for women now to drink alcohol. It is okay now we have made it okay for teenagers now to be pregnant. It's no longer that a big issue. Why can't this saying that men don't cry evolve as cultural things that were originally wrong? Why can't we change it? Why can't it evolve like other things? I mean, we've been talking about gender-based violence and men being the perpetrators most of the time. I'm not saying that it's only women that are affected by this. We've explained that more than many times in this platform. But what I'm saying is that most of the time, it is the men that are abusing women, and it is sometimes associated with culture that men don't express their emotions. But it should evolve. Why is it not evolving? Why is it not changing?
All right. Z, I'm going to pretend like I can respond to your question, and also attempt to answer what Arthur said by throwing that question at me. First, let me just start with Arthur. You asked me to throw more light on some of the reasons and so on and so forth. I mean, you basically highlighted these issues and so on. There's a societal factor, and that societal factor we can then break it down, to peers, to educational system, to we talked about culture right now. So we can break it down to different. I don't know. I'm still getting the feedback, but I think we can break it down to different things, right? And but there's a point that you raised there of a man being provider, and then the man coming home, and just and expecting a woman to take care of things and so on and so forth. And like Zizipo is talking about evolution of culture and what have you. I think over time, and the way we're saying it's actually getting to evolve as well, because there was a time where our mothers were just at home, all they did was cook, clean, wash, do laundry, the children. Daddy was off to work, right? If mom needed to leave the house to probably go back to that has come back and then she needs to rush out and go do something, or there's somebody that's at home. There's this thing, but mom was always at home. But now we see that a lot of women are becoming professional. A lot of women they are working just when men are working. So the role of man must be the only one to work. Women are working, men are working. So when we both come home, it is expected that we do not say, "Oh, woman, take the children, take care of the children, talk to the children." It is that kind of. I'm just saying, from evolution now, we should get to a point where we bring everyone together, get home. Have a man, call the children, play with your children, talk to them, engage with them, get to find what's going on. Instead of grabbing a newspaper, like you said, now and just sitting down there, relaxing, and it doesn't matter anymore. And in many cases, we've seen in many families, just give it to the nanny or the helper, what have you. Father comes, mother comes, they're tired, everybody goes to sleep. Tomorrow morning, they leave, the nanny is the one taking care of things. I think men, we should become more responsible and more forthcoming. Talking about evolution. For example, I'll use the teenage pregnancy example. Right? Now, we'll see that in many cases, how the issue of teenage pregnancy became a lot more acceptable in the society was through education. We saw that in schools, through education. We saw that in schools, in curriculum, it was children were being taught how to, this issue that we're not generally acceptable in society. We're not being taught as schools. Issue of contraceptives, issue of dating and relationship, having a boyfriend that was a taboo. These whole issues. If you check curriculums now, gradually, they begin to talk about this school, right? We need to teach them at school as well. And so it then evolved. Education, people can apply it positively or negatively, however you want to apply it. And then you also see an increase in teenage pregnancy, which we also need to address as well. We're not saying because now it is now more or less simple for teenagers to get pregnant that it is really a good thing. You understand? There is a process and whatever, but education really helps in the face of this so-called taboo now become a norm, and then only those who are conscious enough to look at the issue right now have actually been able to look at it and say, no, I mean, this is fine. It's an education, but this is not good, right? We need to educate teenagers to, know how to take care of themselves or whatever the case may be. So education is a very huge role. And then you talked about, you give an example about women drinking alcohol and so on and so forth. I mean, also education. If you see the adverts that we have these days, there was a time where if you want to advertise a beer, I mean, growing up as a child, when they advertise a beer, it was always seated at the bar, and drinking beer. That's how you advertise beer. But right now, we see that we have both gender, in the ad as well. So in order to actually restrict this conversation, that's just see what Cornelia is now, streamline the conversation. We need to, in an effort, to see how we can bring everyone together. What it is that society has as a norm, positively or negatively. What we do, how do we encourage them to say, you know what, it's okay to speak up. There's a point, first of all, on our website, for example, on the landing page that you scroll that you see a point where you can submit an anonymous report of any human rights violation and so on. But if you click on that particular link, you see that there's a point where you can tell your story. You need help. You want to reach out. I see a conversation. So you actually ask the question as, do we really just talk about this, or there's a point where we can provide help? You need help. You think you're going through something, you need help. Please reach out to us. Send us a DM. Check out any contact you see on our platform. Reach out to us. We'll, as best as we can, provide help. We'll, as best as we can, refer to the necessary authority. Mr. Arthur, why do you think that men do not? I mean, let's take out the and the perspective now. Why do you think that men really don't talk about things? But when they become violent, they become excessive. I believe it's allowed as well. But what space? How do we create an opportunity? How do we break this cultural norms? Of no, men don't cry. How do we then educate people? To understand that it's okay for men to talk. Where do we begin this education from? And what platform do we create for men, to have this conversation? How do we just have a gentleman's meeting and say, you know what, guys, it's okay to talk? I know ladies do that a lot. A lady can just tell you, I'm going to speak. They are not going anywhere. She just want somebody to go at her house, something that she can talk to. But men don't do that. How do we create a platform like that? How do we break that barrier? Can you probably help us with that?
I'll be honest with you. I think we have to do it generationally and deal with this with it from a generational basis, because it's how we are going to raise the youth of the future, the young boys. How we are going to raise them is what's going to make a difference. And the same thing about Indota Ikali, a man doesn't cry. Those are things that need to change. I mean, my post, I think it was 2 weeks ago on Men Must Talk, was about the fact that why is it that men are always looking for a solution? Why do we always have to fight? Because sometimes there is no solution. And I think this is what women have realized, that, sometimes the solution is in expression, is in self-expression of your feelings. And a good cry can actually be a solution because it makes you feel better. We need to change the narrative from fatherhood, from the fathers. The fathers need to start to raise boys differently. And I don't know how we are going to do it, That's my goal to find out as well, because I thought the way to do it was to open this platform where men could have a place where they can, like a safe place for them to actually see that, it's not abnormal to be a different sort of man, to have feelings and emotions. and to actually just have a cry, you know. Sometimes it's actually good to just have a cry, you know. I don't cry much, but I wish I could, you know, because when I do, I feel it's a whole different feeling. In terms of my body, you know, I feel differently, you know. So I don't know if we should start with the fathers. The fathers need to look at it differently and say that, you know what, it's fine. If my son has some feelings and emotions, start to ask them, how are you feeling, you know? How are you feeling, you know? How do you feel about this? How do you feel about that, you know? And if you feel badly about it, there's nothing wrong with your feelings. Don't be afraid of your feelings and don't be ashamed of your feelings. I don't know if that's where to start. I don't know. You guys can give me maybe some more advice, you know, because I would love to know. I thought something like my platform was, it's just a start, eh? It's just a start. It's not the solution, and I'm not looking for a solution. I'm just looking for a place to start and a place to say that, you know what, I'm contributing towards this narrative, and I just want to make a difference from where I am, you know, from my, because as I say to you, I grew up without a father. So I didn't know how it is that I should behave as a man. I didn't really understand what masculinity was. And maybe that's why I'm a bit more sensitive and I'm like, okay, no, it's fine. I will post this thing about men. It's okay for a man to cry. Maybe I would have been taught differently if I was raised by a father. I don't know. Prince, what do you think?
uh, also, I like the way you always throw the question back at me.
Because you're going to have sons, eh? And what are you going to teach them? My sister, what will you teach your sons? How will you make them feel free, you know, to be men with emotions?
You know, Arthur, from why you were just talking, you know, when just expressing yourself, I mean, an idea just came onto me, which you and I might have a conversation about after this meeting. You know, whenever, of course, we always talk, right? Of how
Yes,
to
yes,
create a safe space for men to talk. It's very important. We need to create a safe
yes,
space, and like you and I have always talked about, it's always about action, action, action. We're having this conversation. We need to create a safe space for men to talk. You know, one thing I
yes.
see is that you have a movement on social media which many people really don't feel comfortable expressing themselves. And let's see, for example, if you could have 40,000 people in less than 6 months, right, following your content and engaging with you and so on and so forth. Like you said, some of whom were women, others were men. Let's hypothetically say only 10,000 were men, right, and 30,000 were women, right? Now, those 10,000 men were the
Okay.
ones who were courageous enough, bold enough to join. Because when you join a group, sometimes, or when you comment in a group, it shows on your wall, on your profile, that you are in this group or that you have commented. You know, and people get to see the kind of things. So some things that you really do not want to say out, you know, somehow it's out there in public. But we need to create a space, a safe space for men to have this conversation that is just within us and providing help and so on. We'll talk about it. I mean, an idea just popped in my head, and I think it's something really, really awesome and amazing. But you and I will have to talk about it. Like I said, it's for men. That's why I'm not telling you. Zizipo, it's not for you. So I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to have that conversation with you. But yeah, Arthur, I mean, it really just resonates. What you just said, you know, just went so deep. And I just got to realize, you know, we're having these numbers on social media. But how do we really create a space for men to express themselves? It is true. It's okay for men to cry. It's okay to be vulnerable. It's really, really okay. It's communication that's the start. How do we communicate? If I want to tell you something now, I don't have to go
Are
put it on
you
your social
breaking
media
up?
wall. It's very important.
Yeah.
You know, how do we create a safe space for men to really talk? I don't know. Zizipo, how do you guys handle it? I mean, tell me.
Well, I saw another interesting status from who's this guy? Coach Jonathan. Yeah? That status said that females usually go on a vacation with girls, where they actually express themselves, not with alcohol, maybe with a cup of tea and some slice of chocolate. That's a safe space for them to actually express themselves. Sometimes they go into a swimming pool. That, like, the initial thing for them to go there, it was for them to relax and not necessary for them to talk. So they're not making it a the thing. They're just creating a free space, a safe space for them to actually express themselves. So it doesn't start there. It doesn't start with those vacations or those swimming pools or those breakfasts and lunches. It starts with you as a man talking to your male friend. It's about how are you? Not just the how are you, I'm good at yourself. The how are you? How are things? How's your girlfriend? How's your mother? How's everybody around you? You allow them to speak. Start with having that, how are you, that hello, and it should be followed by feelings, by emotions. Allow them to express themselves. Allow them to be able to be vulnerable around you without feeling guilty. I think it starts there. It doesn't really start with big groups. It starts with an individual. You allowing somebody else to actually bottle out things.
And
another thing that I want to say is that do not use women as things to take out your anger. Guys, we're not your toys. We are not your toys. As much as that you grew up in a certain way that doesn't allow you to express your feelings, but don't express it to us. Like,
go and punch the wall.
No, we're not punching bags.
I'm going to invite somebody.
Express it to other males? Why can't they do it to their friends? Why can't they punch their friends? Why can't they stab their friends? Why are they doing it to us?
Also, I remember somebody asked that question in our group the other day. You know, I just don't want to mention his name in public. You know, why don't men take it out on men? Why do we have to take it out on women? But it's fine anyway. We always want to feel like we're strong. So if we take it out on men and they beat us, it's a double tragedy, right? That's a travesty. So if we take it out on women. Thanks so much. I'm just going to invite somebody interested in talking right now. Mr. Joe. Mr. Joe, he runs an organization called Safer right now, and he always talks. He talks about how women can protect themselves. I mean, he does a lot of defensive classes and so on and so forth. If you follow Mr. Joe on our social media platform, Zizipo, you're going to know how to hold the punch when it's coming. You know?
I don't want to protect myself. I don't want to protect myself. I don't want to protect
that's the thing. I mean, I really like the way you take that conversation. I mean, I have just invited. Oh no, only three. Of course, yeah, I just invited three. Only three guests can be. Oh, only three people can be here at once. Oh, I can't invite Mr. right now. Now, conversation, right? It's very important. What you're saying. Men need to know how to take out their anger. And if you remember the conversation we had on what we're also doing on the Noble Club and what we do, it's also help psychologists and social workers, younger people, younger children, to take out their anger without throwing tantrums and taking it out on their peers and so on and so forth. It's very important that we have this conversation. It's very, very important that we have this conversation. And yes, we just need to figure how this is. I think Mr. Joe just left the live conversation because I tried to invite him. He just left the conversation. Yeah, he just left, and when he comes back again, I notice him out again. I really want him. He's very important. He has these classes, these defense classes, and also talking about how women are vulnerable, that they don't even know the things that they do, that they are making themselves vulnerable, and how they protect. There's a lot of things that you said now. You don't want to have to protect yourself, but you don't want to find yourself in a position where you are doing things that make you vulnerable. You also want to be able to understand the environment around you. How safe are you at this point? It's good, it's busy, everybody is smiling, but how do you really know that I'm safe? It's not because it's busy. How do I not know that somebody right there, right now is watching me? I mean, how do you not know that somebody is following you? How do you not know that your boyfriend is angry already? He's actually getting to the point where he has to put out his anger, but he doesn't have a male friend that he can beat. Only you, so that he needs to take it out on. Yeah, well, all these dangers and so on, like you said, it's some of the things that men need to deal with. But from this conversation, I'm going to be honest with you, one of the things I have taken home right now is the conversation that I will be having. Thank you, Mr. Samuel. You're welcome. I think that's, I see you. I think it's a conversation that we will be having after this live and wherever we come, after today. So it's very important for us to create that space. Very, very, very important, for men to have this conversation. I really wish Mr. Joe could join us on this live right now, but he left. Okay, we also lost Zico. Zico, please come back on the live and then we can find you. So, you threw the question back at me in regards to what we should do and so on and so forth. Do you think, which will probably be one of my final questions, is there hope for this generation? Is there hope to eventually end this gender-based violence and this violence that we are having right now? Is there hope for us? Mr. Arthur?
Sorry.
Yeah, my question
Sorry, I had a call coming. Sorry, please repeat the question. Sorry.
I'm saying, which is maybe my final question. From where you sit and from all the conversations you've had with people, is there really hope for this generation in terms of ending this fight against gender-based violence or helping men become non-violent? Is there hope? And if there is, what is the hope that you see?
I definitely know that there is. I definitely believe that there is hope. Otherwise, I don't know. Because you know what, we don't have. There's no other option. We literally have to make it happen. It's just about how are we going to do it? What are the steps that we're going to take to do it? Today, what I did is I tried to call a consultation, like a psychology helpline, to see can I get counselors? Maybe can I get some numbers of people who can actually help these men? Because once I speak to them or we meet them on the port of call, where should I direct them to? And I wasn't successful, and I think that's what I need more than anything, is to be able to find somewhere where I can actually say, okay, I hear your concerns, I hear where you are, I would like you to move forward. Please give this place a call and try to consult this person. They'll be able to help you further, because I'm not a psychologist. So what somebody actually suggested is that maybe I should become a counselor. I don't know if I'm cut out to do counseling for men, but I'm willing to do that if that's the next step, if that's what I need to do in order to make a difference. I'm very, very willing to do so, because I feel there's a need for it, and I can't afford to see any more people take their lives. I've got a cousin to my wife, and he went to the top of one of the tallest buildings in Botswana and jumped off that building, And this guy was I think in India of university, a good-looking young man. He had his whole life ahead of him. What could have made him think that, this is the best option? I don't have any other options, So I actually don't know, Prince, and that's part of the reason I accepted to have this particular Instagram live with you, because my goal is, at the end of the day, I said, you know what, even if I save just one life, I think I'll have fulfilled because I believe this is my calling. This is a calling for me, and I believe I would have fulfilling just by saving just one life, I'm not looking to save 20,000 lives. I'm looking to just maybe make an impact to one person. So I don't know, Prince, because you're the action man, Prince. You make things happen. So let's do this, man. I don't know how we can do this, but I think you can make this movement go forward. I think you can do this, and you can help me achieve what I feel is my life's calling and my life's work as well. I think some of the things you're doing in terms of, for example, the Global Youth Conference, you're looking to give people opportunities. So already there, that is something. That's a step, eh? Because you're looking to say to people that, you know what, there is hope. There is hope for Africa, and there is hope for the future. So with the Global Youth Conference, what you're trying to show people is that, you know what, we do have the ability to actually make a difference. So I appreciate that. I mean, that's the right steps. I don't know what other steps can be taken, you know. I'm doing my best with my Facebook small. I feel like it's what I can do. I would like to have men's conferences. They had lots of jokes about men's conferences, but I would like to have a platform for men to go away with other men and maybe learn from the end that, you know what, we can have safe, you said it, we need safe spaces whereby men can feel like they're not being judged, and they can express their feelings, you know, and they can say, you know what, this is how I'm feeling, and I'm not asking for a solution. I don't need a solution. I'm just feeling this way, you know, and somebody else to say, no, I also have that same feeling, and maybe this is how I coped with it, or else maybe I empathize with you, you know, I know what you're feeling. I felt the same way. Uh, I don't know if that's the solution. Hey, Prince, maybe we're gonna need to have an live when we come. You see, now I'm a man. I'm already thinking, what's the solution? What's the solution? Maybe there is no solution. Maybe we need to do an Instagram live where we just cry it out, man.
No, I understand you, Arthur, and I share your pain as well. And of course, we're in this together. But like I said earlier, I mean, a thought just, an idea just dropped in my heart while we're having this conversation, which I know we can build on. And
Yes.
And of course, you know how we always do our thing. When this idea comes, we develop it and we take it to action as quickly as possible. Because like you and I have actually also discussed in the other room, in the clubhouse room, that if we don't do something now, there are 1,001 uh, young men out there who are willing to also unleash their anger because of us as the one we experienced over the past weekend. You know, we need this platform for us to clear our head. That's very true. Thank you. That's very Mustard is her. Thank you. You're welcome. She's our coordinator from Namibia, One Africa Forum. Men too need a platform to be heard, to speak for themselves, and to speak to women. That's very true. So we're going to have this conversation. And Mr. Arthur, I mean, thank you very much. The truth is, I know that going forward, I mean, we're going to really engage and see what we can do. But then we'll be inviting you back here live again on this live so we can continue on this conversation, right? So of course, always keep your door open, but action, we need action. And this awareness, like Cornelia has said, is very important. This awareness is so how do we create this awareness, and how would we help young men? You know, sometimes not even these young men in general. How do we help men? And we need to take it to action, which we'll be discussing. So thank you very much for your time. And I mean, this conversation really has taught me a lot just now. I mean, within an hour, I've really just gotten an idea for a lifetime, you know, that can change lives for a lifetime. And thank you very much. As we do, we take action. So that's what we're going to be doing right now. So thank you very much, guys, for joining on this conversation. Thank you, Arthur, for coming on. Thank you, Zizi Paul, for joining. I see you lost your connection as well. I want to say, everyone, thank you to every one of you who has actually come on and contributed. I really do appreciate you. Thank you all. We hope to see you again next week, 8 p.m. or same time from wherever you're joining from, you know, to also, you know, have this conversation. Our guest is not known yet. We'll put our guest, so just keep your eyes on our social media platform. You find who our guest is. It's time for action, guys. And so please, when we call on you for help, wherever you are, please be willing to help. We need to save this generation. So while we are doing the education in schools and institution of learning, we need to save the men in our society. So thank you very much, Arthur, for your time. And thank you, everyone. It's from my end, it's good night.
Thank you, Prince.
Thank you, Arthur. Thank you so much, Arthur.
Thank you, Prince. You're an inspiration for me as well. Young man, but you do inspire me. And because of people like you, that's why I believe that there is hope for the future. And there's hope for the youth in Africa. You know what? Africa is the youngest continent in the world. Africa is the youngest. We have the youngest people in the world. So our future is, we just need to stop taking things for granted. And we're discussing why is it that it's easier for me to send something from Africa to Europe. It'll take me 3 days. It'll be there via DHL or whatever. But if I was to send something across a few borders to another African country, it's going to take 3 to 4 months. Why is this? And I think that's what you're trying to change, Prince. You're trying to make a difference in that way and say that, you know what, let's try and break the barriers from within first, and let's start growing from within, because Africa is the richest continent in the world and the youngest continent at present. So there's so much that we can do. So I thank you for this platform, and I do for your diligence and for your persistence, Prince. It means a great deal. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Arthur, for your kind words. Thank you for your support as well. We will continue doing all we're doing, and yes, we will continue doing all we're doing. Thank you for your support so far, and thank you to everyone who has been a part of this and for supporting us. I really want to say thank you. Without any one of you, we could not have done any of this thing as well. I mean, just look at you right now. Imagine me having a live with myself. So yes, so thank you all very much. We do appreciate you as well. Arthur, thank you for your kind words. I do appreciate. We will take on this and move to action. We love you so much. Oh, we love you. I love you guys too, every one of you, and I love you so much too, Riabetswe. Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you, Helen. Thank you for all your kind words. I mean, you guys don't want me to end this live now. Huh? You want to be throwing me, you want to be throwing like compliments at me? Oh, come on, guys. Thank you so much. We're ending this live right now. And yeah, thank you. Yes, Prince, you are a barrier breaker for your generation. Indeed. Thank you. Yes, this is Paul, your phone died. You're welcome. We're just rounding up the live session now. I want to say thank you to everyone for joining us, and it's been an amazing time. I'll see you guys next week. But for Arthur, of course, we're always gonna contribute talking action. Thank you very much, guys. And good night again.
Thank you, Prince. Good night. Keep well, brother. Thank you.
And you too, my